A regular street, a regular morning, a 37-year-old woman sitting inside a car. Then, gunshots ring out, and a life is ended. But this story is not just a police report. It is a story caught between a human life, government power, political labels, and the question of who we believe in a time of crisis. The details are still murky, but the basic facts are these. On the morning of Wednesday, January 7, 2026, Renee Nicoli Good was in her car on Portland Avenue in Minneapolis. This was just blocks from her own home. Suddenly, an agent from Immigration and Customs Enforcement, ICE, opened fire. Renee died at the scene. Under what circumstances did this shooting occur? Authorities have said little initially. Did Renee have a weapon? Was there a threat? Was ICE there for an immigration operation, or were protests happening at the time? All these questions remain unanswered, but one thing is clear: a human being is dead, and her death has sparked a storm. So, beyond the headline, who was Renee Good? Let's piece together fragments of her life. Her mother, Donna Ganger, says she was an amazing human being, extremely kind, compassionate. She took care of people all her life. She was a poet and writer. In 2020, she won Old Dominion University's Undergraduate Poetry Prize for her work on learning to dissect fetal pigs. She was a wife, a mother to 3 young children. Her Instagram bio described herself as a poet and writer and wife and mom and shitty guitar strummer from Colorado. She enjoyed movie marathons and making messy art. A neighbor, Megan Kocher, recalled that just weeks earlier, Renee had served her tea and cookies at her house, talking about school stuff. She was such a warm and loving mother. This was Renee Nicoli Good, but after her death, a war over her identity began. In the community, she was remembered as a hero. At a vigil, CARE Minnesota's executive director, Jelani Hussein, said, "She was peaceful, she did the right thing, she died because she loved her neighbors." Another speaker, Noah, directly referenced Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem's reported statements, rejecting them. He claimed Renee was being called a terrorist, when in reality she was there to watch the terrorists. This raises the question, on what basis was this powerful terrorist label applied? Is it a formal designation following a legal review, or part of political rhetoric? And most importantly, how do such labels influence public opinion, and could they prejudice potential investigations? So what happens next, and what questions urgently demand answers? First, the justification for lethal force. Why did the ICE agent decide to use deadly force? Was there an immediate, clear, and grave threat? Second, transparency and accountability. Who will investigate this federal agent's shooting? Will it be ICE's own internal review or an independent body? How much of the findings will be released to the public and to Renee's grieving family? Third, the purpose of the operation. Why was ICE at that location? Were local authorities notified? Fourth, the power of language. What is the impact when high-ranking officials like the Homeland Security Secretary use specific accusatory language in such sensitive matters before details emerge? This incident is a glimpse into America's broader debates, the expanding power of federal immigration agencies, law enforcement accountability, and the bitter divide where we view our fellow citizens as either heroes or villains, forgetting the complex human reality in between. Renee Nicoli Good was a poet who wrote about dissecting fetal pigs. She was a mother whose children will now remember her during their life's milestones. She was a neighbor who shared tea and cookies. And on January 7th, she became a headline. But we must look deeper. We must ask questions. We must seek the truth. And we must remember that at the center of every crisis, every political narrative, and every news headline, there is a human being, a person with a story,
with dreams and whose absence leaves a void that can never be filled. What do you think? Share your thoughts respectfully in the comments below. Which question is the most important? What should we learn from such incidents? Thank you for watching. Stay curious and stay engaged.